Hey guys, welcome to your 6th Java tutorial. In this one, I wanted to get into what exactly a function was and how you can make a function to do a specific action. Um, so I wanted to start by making a function that did basic arithmetic if you passed in two integers. So the way that I wanted to start this was also uh, introducing objects. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to make a new class file, and I'm going to name it math. And if you notice, I'm not going to check this box right now. So inside of math, we have nothing. It says public class math. Um, so we're going to start this by making a function in it. So we're going to do inside of here. Because I want to do math, I'm going to do public static double, and I'll explain this all in a minute. And then I'm going to name it addition, and then I'm going to take in two parameters that are both integers. So it's yelling at me for something. It's because I don't have a return in there yet. Okay, so public is it's basically a flag for the program as a whole to know that this is accessible from other classes. So if we go back to cheese, you can access the addition function from math without any special tools or anything. And then static I'll go over later. That's kind of weird. And then this is the return type. So this is back to the variables that we were talking about, where you have doubles, strings, ints, everything that you have. And then you name it whatever you want to name it. And then a generic function would have it just like this. You don't need to take anything in if you don't want to take anything in, or if you don't need to take anything in, I suppose. But for this case, I'm going to take in. Actually, let me make these doubles. I'm going to take in two doubles so that you can add decimals, because why not? So these x and y are variables that I can use in my program now, like we used in a previous tutorial. I don't remember which one, but the first one about variables. And I'm going to introduce a new kind of statement called return statement. And what the return statement does is it will break out of this function, and then it will send the answer from the function to wherever it needs to go. So because this is addition, I'm just going to do return x plus y, and then that's this entire function. So this block from here to here is just one function, and in this case it happens to be a mathematical function. And I'm just going to save this. And then in cheese, I'm going to come over here. We'll clear all this out, everything that's in cheese, because there's really no need for it right now, because we're not going to do recursion yet. So to do the math, I have to type, well, I don't have to do it like this, but this is how I'm going to do it, because I'm not going to put too much in the math class. I'm going to do math.addition. It knows that I made an addition function. And then I'm going to do, say 3.7 plus 1.3, just for fun. And, for the sake of argument, let's do double x equals that. And then we'll output x, like that. And then you get 5.0. And then if I made this like 3.3333333333, whatever, it would do that math like that. So if we wanted to make an object of the math class, we could type math, whatever we wanted to name. Math is a pretty simple one, but let's say we wanted to reference that as u, just for fun. So we could do math u equals new math, open close parentheses, and then a semicolon. And then we can, instead of referring to the math, we can type u dot addition, and then we can do like whatever we want to, 3.14 plus, 4.7. And that's not going to print it out, so let's print line, open parentheses, and then we'll put that in here, and then there will be a u there. And then that will give you the answer on a new line just by using a math object. This is especially useful if you had, I'll get into more detail on how it would be more useful, but you could see how separating your code piece by piece would look nicer than having all of your math functions in here and then whatever else you had in here, whatever operators you wanted to use. So separating your code is preferable to other programmers who might be looking at your code for some reason, and it's just good practice. That's really how classes and functions work together. As an aside, you could actually just put this in here. You could write this in main right here, and then you could say addition, 14, 13, and that would also work. So this works, but it's not the best way to do it, for obvious reasons. It looks sloppy is really the main reason. But that's basically classes in a nutshell. It's a very rudimentary understanding of classes, as you can figure out. But the next video that I make will be about how you can store lots of data in a class and then access it and work with that. But the point of this video is to show you that you can make functions that do different things. So you have public static addition, and then you have, what else are we going to need? We're going to need division, of course. Public static double, of course, because we're doing mathematic operations where we might end up with decimals, or we might need decimals. Division, double x, double y. Something else that I want to point out. I use double x and double y in my math functions because that's just the way that math was always referred to for me. And these won't interfere with each other because they're different functions and they're local to the functions. But if I put double x up here, every time that I redefined it here or here, it would be a problem. So try to just keep track of the names of stuff that you're using. So for division, I'm going to return x divided by y, I guess. Well, let's make this a little bit more advanced. Let's also introduce the if statement here. So if x equals, you're going to use double equals because that will return true or false, which if true or if false it will understand. So if x is equal to 0, return, well, let's just system that out. That's an error. Well, actually, let's just say that about y, because we'll assume that x is on the top and y is on the bottom. So then we'll return x divided by y. And then that's fine. So let me just return 0. Just because I don't want to introduce error catching yet. So now to test division, let's type system dot out. We're just going to print out division to the console. So let's see, we got math.division, I believe I named it. Yeah, division, 27 divided by 3, because we know that comes out just fine. And you got 9.0 down here, which is cool. So let's say we wanted to divide it by 3.8 because we're cool, and then you get the actual answer. So that's one way to do it, uh, division and whatnot. But if we divide by 0, it should give me an error. Yeah, it says error and then it says 0.0. I did that because I didn't want to get any problems with Java. I don't know what Java does if you actually divide by 0, but I guess we can find out, because it's better to learn than to not know. The answer is infinity if you divide by 0. So, I'm sure you can understand, but let's just make one more for multiplication. So public static double multiply double x double y. Open curly brace, enter. So we'll just return, whoops, sorry. We'll just return x times y. And then we can do math.multiply 3, 5, because we know that that's going to be 15. Comes out as 15.0. So if we did 3.9 times 5, you would have 19.5. So that's a really useful way to separate your code, and then you can have all your math in one place and everything, as I mentioned before. It's really just to make your code look clean, and it's easier to maintain this way, because if I was making a math function and I had a problem with it, I could send it to somebody else, and I would only need to send them the math.java file. I wouldn't need to send them everything else for the most part, unless they couldn't test it on their end for some reason. So, I'm pretty sure this is the longest tutorial that I've made so far. So, if I'm going too fast or anything, could you just leave a comment on the bottom saying I'm going too fast, or send me a message or something? The idea is to enable everybody to learn how to program. So let me know what's up, and thank you.